So we recorded an interview with Lee this morning, but I thought it would be better to give some context so you know what the hell's going on because I realised we kind of jumped into it. So I'm based here in Derry in Ireland, and this is where the motorbike is. But Lee lives in Melbourne now. So what we're going to try and do, and the motorbike I realised we didn't even say what it was. So it's a 1982 Kawasaki GPZ 1100, which has been heavily modified. It's got a GSXR front end, a TL 1000 rear end. The engine is now bored out to like an 1170, I think. And there's various other bits and bobs going on as well. So Lee and I are now going to talk for the next 40 or 50 minutes if you can be bothered to listen for that long. But this is the too long didn't read version. This is us establishing a plan for getting this bike out and trying to think about what we're going to do with it between now and when Lee comes from Melbourne to Derry in August. So there you are. So Lee, what's the crack with this bike?
Oh, the bike. Right. Um, right. Burgundy bike. 2002. What year did I come out to Australia? 2004. 2 years before that.
2000. Aye. So there's a picture of the bike when you first got it. It looked like it was
Oh,
2002.
right. I got it. Okay. I done my bike test in 2002, which I passed. Congratulations. License department. What was I writing then? I can't remember that. I can't remember this whole two-stroke thing. And I got my bike test thing. It was 21. I'm not too sure. But anyway, they sent me out my license in the post, and I was all chuffed. But they sent me out my car test. And at that stage, I had a GSXR 750 with 1100 engine on it, and I went, "Oh, this is no good." They sent me a car test, so I replied to them and said, "You got it wrong. I did my bike test. Send me out my bike test," and then they sent me out my renewed license with the car and the bike test. So basically, I got my bike test and my car test in a conflict packet. And all of a sudden, I could buy or I could drive a car. So it opened up me buying the bike in England from Street Fighters magazine. So I could get a ferry from Belfast to Liverpool to go pick up this bike, this GPZ. Is this starting to make sense?
Aye. So is that where you first saw the bike in Street Fighter magazine? I didn't know that.
Right. Let me think. I seen the bike in the Street Fighters magazine, the GPZ, and it was over in Dover, and I decided I'll go buy that. Why did I do that? I can't remember. It must have been just a Street Fighters magazine article. Right. So I headed over in the ferry from Belfast to Liverpool, and I booked the bike from Belfast to Liverpool with a motorcycle, and I got to Belfast, and they would let me on the ferry because they'd never a bike. And I went, well, I don't have a bike, but I'm going over to buy it. So they said, basically, I can't get on the ferry. So I got on to this guy in a truck, and I said, can I get in beside you to get the ferry over, because I bought a bike ticket with a and one person. Anyway, they got me on the. So this truck driver said, "Yes, let's get in the truck." So I got in the truck, and they took me over there, and I went over to Liverpool with my new acquired car license. That was it. And I was able to rent a van in Liverpool.
Right.
And And I rented a van with my new car license, and I never drove a car before in my life. They said, "Where you taking it?" I said, "I'm taking it to Dover to pick up a bike and then come back again." And they said, "Well, you're lucky because we don't charge you extra on miles where you go." So here's me in the van, Liverpool. And he said, "Right, good luck." And I said, "Happy days." And I put the thumbs up. And he didn't walk away. He was expecting me to reverse the van out and head on the freeway because I had a license. And anyway, I put the thumbs up to him, and he said, "Yes, right, no worries. I'll see you soon. See you in a couple of days' time." Thumbs up. And he stood there, and I had to put the clutch into the van, put in the reverse, and then put it in the first and drive off because I never drove a van or a car before. And I drove off, and off I went to Dover to pick this GPZ up that I seen in Street Fitters magazine. That was it. Anyway, so I drove off and I went on the motorway, and I realised, right, happy days. I'm on my way to Dover. I've got a map in my hand.
Oh, you were by yourself? There's nobody with you on this trip?
What?
There's nobody with you? You were on your own? Were you on your own on this trip?
It's by my own. I'm in a van. I got a license, remember. I got a bike test there a couple of weeks before, but they gave me the car test, which allowed me to get the van, and I drove out of there going, right, here we go. And got on the motorway, and I said, happy days, we're on the road. Going to get this bike. Let's light a cigarette up. I remember waving across the motorway, trying to get a lighter, wind down the window in the van, learn how to drive a car in the motorway, and off I went. And I got to Dover, and I got to the bike, and the bike was cool. Picked the bike up, happy days, acted all cool, paid the money, and then on the way back home from Dover, stopped off at a service station, and then them motorways, same way now. You get a servo to the right, servo to the left. I remember turning over the servo on the left, bike in the van, get into the servo, got a sandwich. I went out to get the van again. I went out to the van was missing. Right?
I've never heard this before. This is brilliant.
No. It's all come back. And I went out to the car park, and the van was gone, the bike was gone, everything was gone. And I was like, oh shit. My rented van's been stolen with a new bike in the van. And I freaked out. But kept cool. Long story short, I had entered the motorway service station on the right-hand side.
And came out on the left.
Left it, got a sandwich. The van and the bike was on the other side. So, found the van, got the bike, got home. And got home with Freddy Krueger.
My technology.
The GPZ. The GPZ bike, and I got home with the bike. But the bike itself was way nowhere near where I wanted the bike. So I got the bike home, and straight away I was looking to big bore it, put suspension on it, wheels on it, all that sort of stuff. So I found another bike.
The donor bike?
In Street Fitters magazine. And instead of big boring that engine and all that stuff, I hadn't got a clue of that stuff. I was going to buy another bike and transfer the engine on it, the front end on it, etc. So where are we? Are you asking me these questions, or are you just wanting me to just waffle?
No, I'm happy for you to waffle. I don't know if you can see, but I'm sharing my screen here as well. So as you're talking about these bikes, I'm putting up wee pictures of these bikes as well. Can you see that?
So I can see that bike now, right? So that bike was the Street Fitters magazine, GPZ 1170, all this, that, and all that. And I went, right, happy days. That'll do the engine of my thing. and the front end of my thing, and I'll be able to do the swapperoo and sell it and go from there.
So this one here that we're looking at now, Lee, this is the one with the GSXR front end. So the engine in the front end came out of this bike.
So this thing here was owned by, I still know the guy, and he's got a really good, a really successful little business going on. Classic Bike Stables, and he was
Right.
in Bridlington. And he ends up, he was a member of the Sex Pistols tribute band.
Right.
All right. So, I wanted to buy this bike because that is a 1170, big bore kit on it, nice front end, and it was an X race bike. So I done a deal with him, and I left. God, I really can't remember. But I remember heading over to Bridlington, meeting up with this guy, and buying this GPZ off him. It had a nice engine and a nice front end on it. And when I met up with him, he's a really nice guy, and I spent the night with him. And I learned that he was a guitarist for the Sex Pistols tribute band. Anyway, so I bought this bike off him, and I drove it from Bridlington back home. So now I had this bike and the GPZ, the Freddy Krueger bike.
Yeah.
Which I probably didn't elaborate on. That's the one.
That's the one.
But this thing wasn't acceptable because we needed a big bore on it, we needed a big front end on it, and we needed a big bore engine. So I had two bikes there.
Yeah.
So I bought the bike off Tony, and I took that bike over from England, and we had two bikes together. In between times, Tony went on tour with the Sex Pistols around England and Ireland, and I booked him in to the what do you call it, joint over the town?
I don't know. There's many joints over the time. Sanditos, maybe.
No. But what do you call the place where you do the recording studios and stuff like that?
Back the Nerve Center.
Nerve Center.
Yeah.
And I booked Tony and the Nerve Center crew. And his band over the Nerve Center, and we done the Sex Pistols tribute band, and he came over there and happy days. But anyway, all of a sudden we had two bikes.
Yep.
So what we wanted to do with the Freddy Krueger bike, this picture there, right? We wanted to change the front end because that front end's a CBR 600 front end. It was a wee bit weak, but it was done in the 90s. But I wanted to get a big bore engine, and I also wanted to get the rear end, the big back wheel, the 200 tire. And the 200 tire was never sort of really popular back then. So we had two bikes, and the rear end had a TL1000 swing arm, and I had a ZX7R rear wheel. Already up at Benny's garage, they put everything together to get the Northwest back in 2000 and what?
2004? Was it 2003, 2004, something like that?
I
know this was planned.
Maybe 2002 years or something. So I had the two bikes, a lot of money put out there, along with a swing arm and tire and all that sort of stuff.
So that swing arm in this picture, Lee, that is not the swing arm that's on the bike now. Then that one was swapped out.
Correct.
Right.
When we got the two bikes together, we wanted to get a big rim because that there, the Burgundy bike there with
you can see it better in this picture. Actually, it's a much skinnier back wheel.
It was a 160 back wheel. It was a CBR 6 wheel, and we wanted to put on the 200 tire on it. So ZX7R was the first bike that could accept. It was a 5.5 inch rim, and it could accept the 200 tire. So we wanted to get that in there. So I remember down in Transtech doing our work, being able to manipulate that TL1000 underslung swing arm with the ZX7R rear wheel and tire. And I remember doing a Transtech at night shift, welding up the framework to get the shock in there. And I do remember specifically the shock in that bike at the minute is absolutely shite. It's basically a car hot rod shock. It's no good at all. But back then, I just thought it was a shock, and I'll just put it in there. But that's welded in there, so that shock's got to go.
Right. Okay.
Without a doubt. But we made it work. With the frame, the swing arm, and the wheel in it. Swapped the front end. I was able to swap the spindle to get the GSXR front end with Tony's bike. I'm sorry if I'm fucking waffling here. And then the engine over, and then that's it. And then it was all to get it back over there. And then now you see it now, if you can see the video there. I had the front end for the Freddy Krueger bike in that. I had the Freddy Krueger engine back in that. And we had the CBR rear wheel back in there. So now the only thing left I would love to have taken there from that bike was the Harris 4 and the 2 pipes, because apparently that was a custom pipe. They put the 2 out the rear end just to get it symmetrical, but I just had to let it go and just got to get it sold to justify the engine, the front end, I took it from it.
And this is right. This is what she ended up with then, with all the bits swapped over. And then we haven't even talked about the paint job. I was talking to your brother Paul the other day, and he was saying Lee loves flames. You must do.
No.
No.
No. See, this thing was, the paint job was all to do with
Let's see. Oh, there's a good picture here.
The flame thing was the chopper thing. The Kawasaki thing was purple and green. It had to be that. But the flames thing had to be there. Just the whole chopper thing. It was to just mix it up completely. It was I'd never really seen it before, and I got what do you call the guy who used to do the tattoos? Me, Andy. 3-wheeler car thing.
Oh, I know the guy you're on about. His name escapes me right now, but I know the boy you're on about. Tries to be your Lion Robin.
And I think he done a good job, and I want to get the chrome pinstripe happening there. But anyway, it was a bit of a mix. I just wanted the thing to be different, and the thing was different, And why I liked originally buying the bike there, the Freddy Krueger bike, was the chrome frame. The frame had been chromed, and the side casings had been chromed. And then when we got the other bike there, we transferred the engine cases. We transferred a lot, including the oil cooler.
Yes.
And I think the front wheel too. I took the front brake disc off it on the right-hand side just to show off the 3-spoke. It was a cosmetic thing. So there was a lot going on.
I ask you about that because, when I last seen the bike, as I say, there's a picture I'm going to come to of the bike when I went up to see your dad a couple of months ago and it was peeking out. And then I went back and looked at it and I went, I'm sure this bike used to have twin discs, but now it's only got a single disc. So you just took one off just so people could basically see the wheel a bit better.
It was to show off the 3-spoke G6R front rim that I had polished, and I'll never, ever, ever polish a wheel again. I still talk about these days. It was so difficult, so many hours. But I took the disc off it because it was a bit of a mix between the Harley custom thing and the 90s Street Fighter thing. That's why I took it off. It was aesthetically just to show the 3 spokes. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but right now I'm looking at the photograph and it's got a disc on there, and you can see it's sort of covering the 3 spokes. That's why I took it off there, just for aesthetics.
Yes.
The swing arm, the TL1000 swing arm, I took in the work, and I remember fitting it up great. It was the in the frame, and I remember the ZX7R wheel. It was quite easy putting it in there, but if I can remember, I'm just winging it here, and I think there's a spacer missing from behind the push drive that I maybe used to space out the wheel, you know.
So that's the way she was. And then this is obviously before. After this, you then took her to a show. We go back here and have a look here. This is, I believe, this is you wheeling her into a show. Up there. If you still did the Fun Dusty song there.
We were aiming initially. We were aiming to head the Northwest 200, the best event of the year. I absolutely loved it, and I loved bringing everybody there and to do the racing. But we worked. When I say we, as in me and you, worked in Benny's garage. Did the night before, trying to get this thing going, because we had the thing going, and then there was the aesthetics and the paint job and all that sort of stuff, and blah 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 blah. And I'd already been around the block on it, and it was sweet. It was running well. And see, I'm not even too sure these photographs are even. No, we tried to get the thing going, so much so that I remember going out the front street and pushing the thing. And I remember lifting my leg over, jump starting it, and hitting the back tail unit and nearly going down with the freshly painted job. And after that there, we said, we can't get it going. We're going to the Northwest tomorrow. Let's just pack it in and let's go home. And that was the time we went back to Brigade. Me and Charlotte were in their house. And Charlotte had just get cream carpet fitted. And we went to get a box of beer, all depressed. And I walked into the house. You went in the living room. I went out to the fridge, put the box of beer, and I walked in, and there was a massive. Do you remember this?
I do.
There was a massive 12-inch skid of grease.
Yeah.
Following your foot on my girlfriend's new carpet. And I went, well, here we go. This is. We're fucked now. Like, this is unbelievable. We didn't get the bike going. We're not going to Northwest on the bike. Now we've got a beer, and now we've absolutely fucked this carpet up. We tried to rearrange the sofa, tried to rearrange the rug. No, this ain't happening. And I went, there's only one hope here. I said, I'm going to go out and get some WD-40 from underneath the sink.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
And I got a pair of WD-40 and a rag, and we came out. I was able to clean up the mess, the grease, streak, WD-40, and be able to clean that carpet completely clean. And then the conversation went to, we should really repackage this ultimate carpet cleaner. Anyway, so we spent the night there. And then we headed around the Northwest the next day. We no bike, with all that work. That it was like so much work put into that bike. And we went to the Northwest with no bike, and we had a bit of crack, you know.
I remember. See, going back to what you're saying. See that time we were trying to jump her down the road, because you tried to jump her. It must have been 10, 15 times, and you're pushing her back up the hill every time, getting more and more knackered every time. And then I remember, it's etched in my brain, that last time when you went to throw your leg over and your toe just clipped the back of the seat. And if you went down on your knees, your hands were still on the handlebars, but you were on your knees. And I was like, I don't know how. I kind of went this, looked up, and then the bike stopped. And I says, I don't know how you didn't go down. And you were right, there was no fucking way that bike was hitting the ground. I would have thrown myself under the bike first, but that bike wasn't hitting the ground. I remember that.
Like, my knee was on the ground.
Your knees were still on the ground.
Step, and I was just about to go lie underneath, because there was so much work put into it, mate. Yeah. And I know I've been terribly undescriptive and all that stuff, but the way we're looking at the bike right now, that's the way it was, and that's the way we were going to take the Northwest. But somehow we could not get the engine started. The engine came out of that bike, the donor bike. It was a powerful 1170 bike. I had ridden it home, ridden around the block, and we transplanted it. I'd been around the block when the bike was sort of ish like that. But then all of a sudden, we just couldn't get it going. So Lisa said, what's wrong with the thing? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, me and Charlotte heading to Australia, and we had sort of more important sort of things to do as such. We said, let's get the bike out to Australia. Let's get a crate. Me and Deggy got the crate sorted. Let's get it in my dad's garage. Let's get it prepared. And as soon as I get the room and the means to get it out here, we'll get it out here. And there she sort of sat. But yeah, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with it. And it's not a spark, it's not fuel. I think possibly putting the oil cooler in from the other bike onto that bike fucked something up. I think possibly with starved oil getting to the top of the head, enabled the bike to go around the block in Kilfennan once or twice, and then we put it there to get the aesthetics done. I think with that short run, there's something at the top end, you know, because it actually blew. It actually trying to turn the thing over was quite hard at one stage, and I got a CDA or EC igniter from the States because it actually blew because it wouldn't spark. And I got it started to spark, but to turn it over was so difficult, which leads me to believe now there's something seized in it, which leads us to sort of now as such. It doesn't matter how cool it looks or what wheels are on it or how legal it is. There's something wrong with the engine. I was speaking to Lee Finlay there, and you know Lee. Yeah. Lee's born and bred in Kilfennan and went on to, crew chief for Taz and TT and a very, very good mechanic. I've sort of said to him, I said, we gotta look at this to see what's going on, But at the same time, if you wanted to have a look at it, we've got to get the engine out anyway. Yeah. The oil, valve stem seals and stuff like that there, it's definitely going to be corroded away, So there's an option there of getting the engine out, getting it on the bench, and me and you working it out type of thing, or we just get the engine out and just send it to Lee and just pay the money. So in one way, it's probably good to get the engine out and get it sent away to Lee and, get them to sort it. But then again, it would be sort of good fun if we could possibly do it ourselves, you know what I mean? But it's going to take time, it's going to take money, and I do not want you guys to spend a penny on it, you know what I mean? And it has to be good crack, you know what I mean?
Well, this kind of brings us up to now then, so that's a really good kind of recap of the history of where the bike came from and where all the parts were sourced and the kind of rationale of putting it together. And like you say, it went into your dad's garage in around 2004, and there she sat. And then again, I was literally up chatting to your dad a couple of months ago, and we got talking about the bike. And he said, "Oh, it's here, I can show it to you." So he literally pulled the cover off the front of it, and I took that picture, which kind of sparked this whole conversation. And I know
it was horrible.
I've been at you every other year for the last 2 years with this bike, and so's Andy. But now it's finally, we're finally going to try and do something with it.
Mm. All right, that picture there is absolutely horrible. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I could them boys even to entertain this thing. I guess a disgusting picture. But when you got it out and we done the FaceTime thing into the tank and then you give it a jet wash, I'm going, thing's not too bad.
No. It's not too bad at all. It's definitely rescuable. Now, fun enough, whenever I talk to, me and Andy didn't talk about this bike. It's it's great to have ideas, but ultimately it's Lee's bike, so it's up to him. So there's levels of the restoration here. He's already talking about what way we're going to respray it. I'm like, I don't think Lee's talking about a respray yet. He might not. Have you thought about that? Like getting it completely restored, or do you just want it running?
Mate, to be honest, I think it's been bored out the 1170. To be honest, we could possibly do the 1260 thing. Get the barrel sent away, bring it out to 1260. We could even do the nitrous thing, all this sort of wacky shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I did see somebody in the GPZ who took off the carbs and replaced them with a supercharger. So there's all sorts of wackiness. There's a supercharger kit for that bike.
Yes, but that take away them carbs. I gotta say them carbs. They're I don't guess it. Maybe they're 33 mil carbs, the MCR carbs that you're sending out to me. But I bought a set of 35 mil carbs there from America there about 3 weeks ago, and they were thousands of dollars. Never mind pounds, whatever, right? So they're good carbs on there. But them
and they're in good shape.
But them carbs could probably take a 1260 kit. So basically, the barrel get rebored out to 1260. We get pistons and rings and get it fitted together. You know what I mean? Or we just do what it's got. But I can't see the rings and the barrel being in good condition, lying for 18 fucking wonders in my dad's garage. You know what I mean? So it's one of the ones. Do you repair to the same spec? Or do you just, for the same amount of money, bring out the next day as a 1260 type of thing,
Yeah. And another bit of good news, I don't know if you saw this in the chat there, but in 2019, a rule changed here in the UK that says that any car or motorbike that's 40 years old no longer needs an MOT. Did you know that? And this bike is in August 82. And you're coming out in August 2022, and for everybody who's got speed maths going on, that means that bike's going to be 40 years old when you get here in August. So technically, we don't even have to MOT it. We just have to get it running.
Yeah, but surely the law should have come out. A motor vehicle over 40 years old needs to be condemned.
It seems like a mad law to me. I would have thought the older the thing is, the more it needs an MOT. I think it's for classic car clubs and stuff like that. We're complaining that they shouldn't have to MOT cars. The modern spec standards when the cars were never built to those standards in the first place,
Right. Well, there's a thing here at the minute for any vehicle over 25 years. You can get a club membership. You join a club, and you can register for 90 days riding, and it's very popular, right? And I get that, but if a vehicle's over 40 years old, it doesn't need an MOT. That sounds mad.
Yeah. Hey, Google it yourself. I'm going to read in more to it, because again, I know whenever you go to tax something, you need to show the MOT, so I'll need to kind of investigate that. But that's what the law says now. 40 years old, don't need an MOT. And this thing turns 40 in August.
That's weird. It might mean you need to be joined a club, maybe, possibly.
I don't know. Like I say, I'll investigate it further to see what the ins and outs are. To be honest, I would like to put it through the MOT anyway, just for peace of mind. It would be nice to take it down there and have the certificate to say, yeah, the bike's totally safe, totally road legal now. And even if we never MOT'd it again, it would be nice to get it through once.
I definitely, and that's not a problem. An MOT is just to make it safe. I think what's missing from it is an engine number. Because the donor bike with a big bore, they had bought new crankcases, which basically came with no engine number. So it may need an engine number stamped on it, which would just coincide with the VIN, probably, I can't imagine me being too fussed on indicators back then.
I'm just looking at that. There's no indicators in the bike there.
But then again, 40 years, you may be able to just use your hands,
That's true. But in saying that, I mean, and looking at stuff, you can buy these big fancy LED kits now. You can get like one strip of lights that go along the back that is your indicators, your brake light, your tail light, literally all in one little thin light.
Aye,
So
aye.
there's handy little kits we can put on this thing now that you didn't have back when we were working at this thing 20 years ago now to kind of do all that. And they should tie into the loom. Easy enough. But there's all sorts of, I'm really looking forward to getting into the wiring and stuff for this thing too. I take it the loom on this bike was from the original GPZ. You didn't bring the loom over from the donor bike now?
No, I don't think so. But then again, you were showing me that isolation switch on the battery, and we might have transferred the loom over to this one.
Because the other thing is, I didn't find there's no ignition key on this thing. So you got rid of the ignition key altogether, and you just had that big isolator and then the starter button, and that was it.
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any ignition on this bike. So that's another thing. We could buy a wee key set and put an ignition key on, hide it somewhere, or just. The thing is, if you want to be driving, you don't want it so anyone could just start it. You probably want to have a key on it.
And when you say that now, it resonates with me right now. See, when we've got electrical problems in the workshop, now I just get an auto leg in because I could, yes, figure it out, but I always say to customers, it's going to take me 3 times as longer, which is going to cost you twice as much, and I'm going to lose half the times as much in charging you. So I get an auto leg in. So when it comes to that is concerned, to getting the dash lit up, lights, indicators and stuff like that there, we're just going to get an auto leg, and I wouldn't be looking at any schematic diagrams to do that, but it's quite a simple thing,
because we can do that. We can put clocks on it. We can put modern headlights on it. We could get a lovely LED cluster. Like I say, Andy's full of ideas for this bike. He wants to get rid of those 2 spots and put like maybe one big round light on there. Or if you want to go proper 80s, a rectangular light. But I think I don't think that would look cool.
Oh, I don't know. So those 2 Bates headlights, that's sort of the era. Hey, but come here, which brings us to the conversation. What was the plan? What's the plan? Is it just to get it started up, or are we going to get it?
This is the thing. If we can get the thing started, just finding another picture of the headlights at the front there. Getting it started the big thing, because again, I was talking to your brother Paul. I was talking to Andy and Neil about it, and I said the thing that annoys me is we never got the bike running right, and it's still like something that bugs me to this day. That's I kept thinking with another couple of days or another couple of weeks, we would have eventually figured out what was going on with it. There was something there. I was convinced it was something to do with the coils that weren't grounded right or something like that. Like you were saying, it might be something else entirely, But no matter what we did, it seemed like it should start. Because I seem to remember pulling the plugs out, putting the starter button and seeing spark in the plugs and go, right, so they're sparking. Are we not strong enough spark? Is the spark out of sequence? Are they not firing the right? There was something odd going on with that bike, and it still annoys me to this day, 18 years later, that we just never got the bike to. I think we had to get it started up and it idle for 5 minutes on its own and turned it off, and I went, right, fine, done. But we never got there.
Right, but what is the I know it's waffled on there for so long, but what is the plan? Because everything has to serve a plan. Do we just want to get it around Kilfennan, or do we want to? I don't know. What would you like to do?
First things first, get it out of your dad's garage, right? Get it down to Andy's house, clean it up, and see what shape it's in. See if everything's seized up or kind of what shape it's in. After that, get the carbs off, get them in a cardboard box, get them straight out to you. Because if nothing else, like you say, if the bike's a lost cause, at least those carbs would be better off with you. Because you can clean them up and sell them on. And at least that's something from the bike.
No. The carbs. I've always mentioned about getting the carbs sent out to me because I can easily sort of service them, get them set up, and get them sent back. That's my wee input on it. It's not as if you can send out the engine to me.
And then after, as soon as we get access to the engine, like you say, we'll have to get Lee Finley's number and get him around here and get him around to Andy's garage to assess this engine. Because again, I mean, for my involvement, I am like an amateur mechanic. I can take spark plugs out and do an oil change and that, but when it comes to like the inner workings of an engine, I'd rather have somebody who really knows what they're looking at, And then, like I said, at that point, then you can make that decision based on what he's saying. Do we just repair the engine? Is the engine in good enough shape, or do we go for a whole rebore? But then again, I know you're funding this project as well, so it depends how much money you want to put into it.
I'm not too sure what the ultimate plan is.
After
plan
that, I'd
is,
love to see the thing
yeah.
MOT'd and road legal. And I think we could. My vision is when you come over in August, the thing's sitting road legal, taxed, insured, and you're able to jump on her and go for a wee run on her wherever however far you want to go. But that's the ultimate goal, to try and get that thing road legal by August.
Well, if you were to say to me, right, Lee, the bike's road legal and insured, and you could take it around the block, I don't think that really inspires me that much. Although it'd be cool and all that stuff, you know what I mean? What should we do? What should we do?
You want a loftier goal?
What's the drag racing thing in Northern Ireland at the minute? Is that happening or what?
I don't think so. If there is, I have no awareness of it whatsoever. Well, you want to go racing somewhere?
I think that's more. I think that's more of a that would get me excited a bit more if we could somehow get it ready for some sort of race, and maybe ignore the whole MOT tax shit. You know what I mean? And
I'll take you down the airfield road, and I'll race you in my Zwartpong if you want. Let's do a wee one-on-one. I remember racing 125s down there many years ago.
No, that's not acceptable. I think we need to somehow because the thing would fit into period 5 racing back here, which is race bike up to 1982, and there's a lot of different rules there. We couldn't have the upside down front end, etc. And I think that's where we're at now, because we're going to get it going. We're either going to repair the engine where it's at, the 1170 cc. I think they were standard at 1040 or something. We're going to either repair the 1170 with a nice set of carbs on it, which it's got, or we do the big bore of the 1260 with the same carbs. We could put a cam on it or something. Still, I just don't want to ride around the block. I think we gotta race the bastard or something. Alright, that's what we gotta think of. Why are we doing this? Because just to get it fixed and ride around the block is gonna be cool. We gotta.
Oh, we can do something.
Yeah, we gotta set our sights higher. Yes.
I'll take that back to the boys as well and see if anybody's got any good ideas.
Aye. Definitely. I'm just looking at the thing and thinking about it and all that effort in it. We just don't want to get insured and taxed and MOT'd. Big deal. We want to race this thing or do something with it, that'd be awesome.
That brings us up to now, Lee. This is a nice ending to our initial chat about project. We still call it Frankenstein, Freddy Krueger. Does this bike have a name? You can start scanning stuff now. Because you obviously work at a motorbike shop in there as well, so you can start sending us little care packages now, like boxes, cans of carb cleaner, and you're doing the carbs, but a new shock. Because I'm just looking there, that's that shock you were talking about right in there. The coconut, you're saying this guy's not fit for purpose, so we need something new for in there. It's very short, actually, isn't it? It's tiny little thing.
It'll do the job. That's what I'm saying. We need a plan, right? To get it going, I guess, right? But then what are we going to do when we get it going? Are we going to go around the block? And but to be honest, I think we could do better than that. I think we should. There's a drag race or something. If it's in Ireland or England or whatever, I think we should set ourselves our goals but higher. Even if you want to be involved, regarding the engine and stuff rather than just farming it out. We could work together and get a sweet. There's so much potential actually, and I definitely want to thank you for bringing back the memories and stuff like that there. But it has to be something awesome, not just
right.
me coming home and riding around the block, which would be cool. But what would excite me a lot more is yes, we're coming home and we're going to do a drag strip or something. Did you say turbo, or did somebody else say turbo?
No, I said there's a supercharger kit, but it means taking off the carbs. And you're right, the carbs are too nice to replace them with a supercharger. Then you said nitrous earlier as well.
But somebody say turbo.
No,
I can't remember.
Turbo now. Turbo means whole new manifold too, doesn't it? And whole new
There's
exhaust.
something saying turbo. I don't know. Got about
Well, this is the thing with 6 months. Let's get the thing. You get a lot of things as quickly as we can if we want to start talking about upgrades and turbos and things.
I don't know. Let's get a plan together, which really does start off with the simple stuff. The tank condition, getting the engine rebuilt, all shock, all that sort of stuff. But those things aren't very exciting. I think we should get an exciting target. If that means taking it to the drag strip somewhere in Northern Ireland or England, Santa Pod, whatever, and getting a number together, or getting a horsepower figure. And I think I'd be more inclined to get into that, and that'll be really exciting. And maybe it's just maybe I'm not sounding grateful because 2 days ago I was lying with dad's garage covered in shit, but that's why it's been lying with the garage covered in shit, because there hasn't been a big target to go for, you know.
Yeah.
So we need a big plan, a big target, and I reckon it'd be all those small things to be very achievable, a lot more easier if we had a big target, a big plan to achieve something, mate.
Definitely. We'll have to think about it. But anyway, look, let's wrap this up because we'll be chatting here for hours. And again, the plan is to document this. So this may end up on YouTube and somebody may end up watching this if they want to. So I'm going to stop presenting there. Right. I'm going to go. It's Monday. As you know, I'm going out to look at this bike again later tonight to see how we're going to get on with it. And I'll probably give you a shout then as well. Alrighty.
Man, absolutely love it. Thanks for listening to me mumble away for ages there. But definitely, let's get a plan, and then let's achieve it. Happy days.
And you think again about how far you want to go with this. Is it just get it running, or are we talking full respray? Are we talking getting the whole thing re-chromed? Because it's all money. It's just how much money do you want to spend on it, you know? And then we're going to start going with turbos. I mean, 2 twin turbos in the front of that thing would look absolutely amazing.
Hey, whatever. Let's get the big plan and let's achieve that.
Yeah.
If they make it look nice, let's do that, which is a bit boring. If it's get road legal, it's cool, but yeah, whatever. But I think we should definitely look at something real fucking cool, real tough. Tougher than just out of the garage for 18 years. Let's go for that.
I like it. Yeah. Getting the bike running after 18 years is not tough enough. Let's do something tougher. Yeah, get a bike running after 18 years that never ran right even 18 years ago.
Exactly. And I always remember, I'll leave it now. I remember when I had the original bike with a Freddy Krueger paint job, I remember landing down outside your house probably 20 years ago, and you went, wow. He said, and you went, if the devil was to ride in the town, he'd be riding the town on a bike like this.
Yeah.
That was the nicest thing anybody ever said about a bike of mine, you know.
I know. You know what? Like I say, even though the bike's not mine, I have such a strong connection with this bike as well. Because again, as you said earlier, it was many days up in Benny's garage. We worked with the thing to try and get it ready, and the thing just defeated us back then. But it's one of those things that it's always been in the back of my mind, you know. And every time I drove past your dad's house, I know it's sitting in there, like looking at us, going, you never got me going right, you know. So it's nice now to be getting back to trying to beat this once and for all.
Definitely. And every nut and bolt might have a story to it, an emotional attachment to it. But 18 years on, mate, I don't give a damn. I just want this project to be so cool and all of us to have a bit of fun. I don't want you guys to spend any money. I want you to do every receipt, send it to me, and I can say at any stage, wise up, get yourselves on, or keep going, you know. And but definitely, let's get the big plan, the big goal, whatever it may be, and let's go for that.